Welcome to Corvette Today, the podcast that talks about everything Corvette, with your host Steve Garrett, MC and DJ at one of the largest Corvette weekends in the country, Corvette Fun Fest, president of the Corvette Club of Kansas City, Missouri, and radio disc jockey at the #1 radio station in Kansas City for over 40 years. Here's Steve Garrett.
Thanks for listening and watching Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette, and the only current podcast dedicated to Corvette. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. I appreciate you tuning in. Corvette Today is brought to you by Wheelcraft. Want to dress up your Corvette with bright chrome or black chrome wheels? Visit wheelcraft.com and learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or offer a wheel exchange for most models, and it comes with a 5-year warranty. Visit wheelcraft.com today or call 833-840-5334. You can listen to Corvette Today on all podcast platforms. You can also listen on your smart device. Just say, "Hey Google" or "Alexa, play the podcast called Corvette Today," and you're connected. Be sure and visit the updated Corvette Today website. It's CorvetteToday.com. You can also access everything there, including the Corvette Today merchandise store. You can also join the Corvette Today Facebook group there and sign up for Corvette Today emails, notifications, and updates at corvettetoday.ck.page. And if you like YouTube, you can subscribe to the Corvette Today YouTube channel. See all Corvette Today episodes on YouTube. And be sure and patronize our flagship sponsors of Corvette Today, Aerolarri Wheels, a true forged wheel with over 20 different unique styles to choose from for your C8 and wide-body versions of the C7, C6, and C5 Corvettes. It's an amazing value, starting at only $23.88 for a set of 4 fully forged wheels. And use the promo code CT111 and get $100 off your purchase. Visit aerolarri.com, that's AEROLARRI.com, and use the promo code CT111 for your $100 discount. Also, midenginecorvetteforum.com, the forum that focuses on the new mid-engine C8 Corvette. Meet a lot of Corvette enthusiasts like yourself at midenginecorvetteforum.com. And a shout out to Corvette Forum and CanadianCorvetteForum.com, welcoming Corvette enthusiasts from around the world. It's time to bring you the latest Corvette news and headlines with my pal Keith Cornett from CorvetteBlogger.com. As you know, Keith is here twice per month, about every other week. We keep you current and up to date on what's happening with America's sports car. Keith, happy holidays. I'm so surprised, buddy. Even though we're into the holiday season, there is so much news about Corvette.
Well, you just can't get out of the way of it. Everybody's got their orders in. They've got all kinds of stuff they're shopping for now. Of course, it's Cyber Monday, so I'm sure everybody's shopping for Corvette parts and accessories, why they're cheap and then discounted. And then, of course, you've got production news. So there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on, and you just can't get out of the way of it. And that's kind of how we like it, right, Steve?
Absolutely right. And I need to do some Cyber Monday shopping as well. So let's get into it, buddy. Let's talk about Corvette production at the Bowling Green Assembly Plant.
Okay, as you know, the plant was closed on Thursday and Friday for Thanksgiving, but we do have most of the latest numbers. We know that they've completed 18,262 Corvette Stingrays so far. That's the latest sequence number that we have through Wednesday. Don't really have the approximate count on the 70th anniversary Stingrays, but we think that they're likely around 1,500 or so, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but right around that ballpark or so. The good news, though, is Z06 production, and I think we're really starting to see the beginning of the ramp up here. You know, for a while they started off, they were doing 2 cars a day, and then it went to 4 cars a day, and now it looks like they're doing anywhere from 10 to 15 Z06s per day.
Wow.
So that's obviously really good news. I think my last count for Z06 production comes probably on Tuesday. I don't know if we've got Wednesday's numbers. So we're looking at around 136 or so regular produced Z06s, and then 30 or so anniversary models. Again, this is boding real well. It sounds like the ramp up is really starting to happen. And if you can do 15 a day, that ends up being 70, 80 a week or so. And then it just continues to grow. And we know that they want to move up from that 15 and go even more. It's all depending on supply chains and things like that. Again, it's all looking pretty well.
It really does. And the Bowling Green Assembly Plant ran 2 shifts on Saturday, November 19th, which was good to see.
Yeah, we had a couple days off. Of course, we had the Thanksgiving break, and then the UAW contract also gives workers off on Election Day earlier in November. So we think this was just a good way to make up a day's worth of production. So they did actually bring in 2 shifts. I know they built 153 regular Corvette Stingrays during that time. I saw some notes on Mid-Engine Corvette Forum that a guy there saw his car go to 3,800 after Saturday. So we know they were also building Z06s. They'll keep it up as long as they got the parts. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to actually squeeze in another Saturday here before the end of the year, just because we do have these breaks. We've got a week break coming up between Christmas and New Year's. So if they could do another one in there, that might also help as well. The last time they were going to do a Saturday was September 24th, but that ended up being canceled at the last minute just because of parts supply. These things can get scheduled and then canceled immediately. That's just the part of the supply chain and get the parts to the plant. The fact is they're building cars as fast as they can. And again, to have over 18,000 Stingrays so far for the model year, it's just a really good number. And it just shows that, at least with Stingray production, I know everybody's been hesitant and we know people are still waiting, but they're knocking them out.
Absolutely. It's good to see, too. And I was glad to see the dealerships got a fourth quarter Z06 allocation, and that came back on November 17th.
Yeah, this was sort of unexpected. They told us back in early September, after they did the first order cycle for the Z06s, that they're going to suspend orders through the end of the year. But that always got us wondering, that they do all these production of the Z06s through the end of the year. What's that do for January? So it looks like that these cars that are going to be allocated to dealers in this November order cycle will actually then be produced in January, and probably January and February, maybe a little bit into March. We don't really have counts this time. A lot of dealers now, they are wanting to share those numbers with us the first order cycle, but there's a lot of pushback and customers get upset. So they're all kind of playing it close to the chest, but we did get some confidential numbers. Some dealers feel like they did pretty well. Some obviously wanted more, and a couple didn't get any. They were really hoping to. The real big question for all of that, though, is that we don't have constraints yet. So they just gave them their allocation numbers. Normally, the order cycles go, they get their allocation numbers the first week, and then the second week they can do the constraints and then get the orders put into the GM order bank. What we're seeing here, though, is because of Thanksgiving, we're delayed. So actually, the constraints are expected to come down on Thursday, and then the order bank's open, but dealers are going to be scrambling because we're not feeling really well about having a lot of these visible carbon aero packages,
right,
which is really what's slowing down the Z07 production. It's just one of these things that we're still trying to fight through. A lot of the dealers are having to go really deep on their list because all these initial orders for Z06, they're so heavily optioned. There's a lot of YouTubers getting their cars. They want them outfitted. These early adopters, these Z06 customers that have been on these lists for a long time, they know exactly what they want. They want these cars that are just maxed out. They have to go down the list to find someone that says, yeah, I'll take the standard Z06 without that aero package and be happy with it. I said in my post, I said, if you're one of those guys you think you're down on that list, you should be contacting your dealers and saying, pick me, pick me.
Exactly.
They're going to be looking for those people. And obviously there's going to be some disappointments, but just one of these things that we're dealing with. Like I said, production is ramping up. We did get this new Z06 allocation and order cycle that we weren't expecting to have. Again, it's all good news. And these allocations that are going to go in and these orders that are going to go in on Thursday, these cars will be produced in January. And then that solves that issue of that stopgap following the first order cycle. Now we've got the second order cycle. The other thing, too, that we're doing is we see that when they do the Z06 ordering, it's by itself. So they'll do the Stingray the first couple weeks of the month, and then they switch to the Z06 the second couple weeks of the month. I think that helps keep the dealer straight and allows them to focus on those customers particularly.
Gotcha. Also, I was glad to see that Chevrolet just outlined the next 3 months of order cycles for December, January, and February, too.
Yeah, this was unexpected. It was an email that came down on the Monday before Thanksgiving. And again, this goes with that order cycle that we just talked about. I think what they're doing is they're really prepping the battlefield for the next few months and saying that this is what they're looking for. And again, this goes back to that one cycle or two cycles. They call these the DOSP, which is the dealer order submission process. For December, there's only going to be one of these planned, and that's for Stingrays only. They'll get the numbers on December 8th, and then they'll get their constraints and ordering will come on December 15th. And then the same thing for January, just one order cycle planned. January 12th, they get their allocations for the Stingrays, and then constraints and ordering will come January 19th. The good news, again, we call it good news. We'd like to obviously to have that second order cycle earlier, but February, we're looking at two cycles. They never say Z06 or Stingray in their notes. It's just one order cycle, two order cycle. So right away, everybody just assumes that that second order cycle is for Z06. What we're looking at there is in February, the first one being the Stingrays, February 2nd, and then orders start on February 9th. And then Z06 Those will start the 16th and orders will happen February 23rd. If you follow the same model, we just have now, November ordering, January production. We're looking at February ordering and probably March or early April production for that. The real question is, after February, are we going to have to wait another month or two and then do another second order cycle for Z06? Or might we get in March 2 again? We're just waiting to see. It's all parts related. They're producing cars. They're still ramping up. That's the real hope there, that we can get on some sort of monthly cycle where we're doing these 2 dealer order submission processes each month.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. Now, Keith, Consumer Reports, we've well documented it that they just don't like the C8 Stingray. However, Consumer Reports now recommends the C8 Stingray. What changed their mind?
They're either on their meds or they're off their meds. That's the only thing I can really say, is because we've been covering Consumer Reports forever. They hate the car, and then all of a sudden they love the car, and then they hate the car, and then they love it again. When the C8 first came out, they loved it, they test drove it, they liked it, but then they refused to recommend it. For some explicable reason, on I think the 2022s, they actually put that on their non-recommended, or the least likely to recommend, because of maybe future problems might happen, which again sounds crazy because they're not documenting actual problems. They're saying, well, maybe future problems are going to happen. So now we're in the 2023s, and they came out with their rankings. The 2023 Corvette Stingray scored an 87 and then got the recommended tag. To compare that to some other cars in the class, the Mazda got an 82, the Toyota Supra got an 82, and then falling down below was the Porsche Boxster, which was rated at a 78. Of course, all these cars did get recommended. What they said about the Corvette was they just love the ride quality, and especially the interior, which has always been the Achilles heel for Consumer Reports. The one things they didn't like was the fact that it was missing several safety features. They didn't like that it didn't have the forward collision warning or the automatic emergency braking.
Okay.
And not only that, but they also don't like the fact that the safety features that they do have don't start on the 1LT. You got to go to the 2LT to get those safety features. And actually, we kind of agree with that. Chevy should put every safety feature on its base models because it's safety first, is what we think. The real takeaway they came here, and I'll read you the quote, is, "We came away from the experience impressed by the C8 Corvette's performance and thrilled with its fun-to-drive nature." So there you go. Consumer Reports this year, has a recommendation for the Corvette Stingray.
It's about damn time, Keith.
I still think they're off their meds, though.
Well, I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. Maybe they got a different person reviewing the car, but anyway, we're now recommended. That's a good thing. Finally, in this news and headlines section, Keith, the C8 Z06 is a finalist for the Motortrend 2023 Car of the Year.
Yeah, this is pretty exciting. Obviously, when the Stingray came out, it picked up not only the Motortrend Car of the Year, but it also won the North American Car of the Year award.
Right.
That judging started too soon, so the Z06 won't be considered for that award, the North American Car of the Year, this year at least. But for Motortrend, it's there. So they pulled in 15 cars at first for their Golden Calipers Award, is that what they call it? Now they've got their 7 finalists. We think that we'll do pretty well, but you never know. Here's the cars that we have. We have an Acura Integra. We have the BMW 2 Series Coupe, a BMW i4, of course, the Corvette Z06, then the Genesis G90. And I think the G90 is what won the North American Car of the Year award. I'll have to go back and check that out, but I think that G90 did that.
I think you're right.
There's also another Genesis, the electrifying G80, and then finally the Honda Civic Type R, which everybody's going to say, oh, they're going to go for the Civic. That's just what Motortrend does. Here's what they said about it. They like the Euro supercar performance. They like the sport bike engine note, which I don't know if I'd call it sport bike. I'd rather call it a Ferrari engine note than a sport bike engine note.
Sure.
And then finally, they like the tour mode ride comfort. Even with the Z07 suspension, when you put that thing in a tour, it really kind of calms the car down and it makes it really nice to drive. At least on the highways, you go on the track, obviously you want to put it in a sport or track mode. What they didn't like about it was, and again, these are kind of nitpicky, but they called the Z06's overwrought exterior and interior design. I think they find the car's design a little polarizing. I don't know what to say about that. That's really a subjective thing.
Sure.
And of course, the interior design is probably the Great Wall of Buttons there, which has always been something that people have talked about as well.
Exactly.
But that's where we stand right now. They wrote their little articles and reviews on each of these cars. And then I think we'll find out either in late January or early February which car will get that coveted Golden Calipers award. Here's hoping the Z06 pulls it off.
I think we can for sure. Well, buddy, let's take our first break. When we come back, it's time for Corvette racing and Corvette rumors here on Corvette Today.
We all know that wheels make the car. Wheelcraft will help you take your Corvette to new levels. Wheelcraft offers the world's best PVD chrome finish available on the market. Available in bright chrome and black chrome. Wheelcraft nails it in both appearance and durability. And it comes with a 5-year warranty against brake dust burns, pitting, peeling, and color delamination. Wheelcraft is also ISO certified. Whether you're having your wheels refinished or an exchange transaction, there is no core fee, no deposit, and you don't pay for the finished wheels until they are installed on your car. Wheelcraft insists on complete satisfaction before you pay. Hear from one of our customers.
I picked up a brochure at the National Corvette Museum and we took delivery of our new C8. I called Wheelcraft, and in 15 minutes, I ordered the new bright ice chrome wheels. Wheelcraft's follow-up and follow-through is superb. The wheels arrived on Sunday, installed on Monday, and cores were returned same day. The wheels are the highest quality I've ever seen, and they look awesome. Great prices, great customer service from initial contact to installation.
Thanks, Dennis from Nashville. In many cases, Wheelcraft offers finished wheels on exchange or will apply this new finish to your wheels. Either way, Wheelcraft treats your wheels as their own. Visit our website at wheelcraft.com or call us at 833-840-5334. Arrive in style with Wheelcraft.
The Radiator Grill Store offers protection for your C8's front radiators and side intakes. They also carry front strut tower covers to prevent rusting and pooling water, all with do-it-yourself installation. Get 10% off your total purchase with promo code CT10. See the full line of products at radiatorgrillstore.com.
When you want to buy a Corvette, or any Chevrolet for that matter, get yours from Hendrick Chevrolet Shawnee Mission, located in Kansas City. Hendrick Chevrolet is the largest Corvette dealership and showroom in the Midwest. With a knowledgeable sales staff and Corvette sales specialists on hand, they'll help you build the Corvette of your dreams, and they ship nationwide. With Corvette certified master mechanics on site and a huge parts department with over 24,000 parts and $2 million in inventory, Hendrick Chevrolet is well equipped to take care of your every need. From sales to service to collision repair, Hendrick Chevrolet has you covered. Visit ChevyUSA.com or call 913-384-1550.
Stretch the life of your Corvette's paint with NovaStretch, the performance protective cover. From bugs to rock chips, NovaStretch covers protect your C5 through C8 Corvette, utilizing stretch fabric technology and an innovative fastening system for quick installation and easy removal and storage. Made in the USA for a tailored fit, the patented design and breathable mesh protects your Corvette without rubbing or chafing the paint like traditional covers. And unlike clear film or old-time car bras, NovaStretch provides full front-end coverage including the grille, keeping radiators and heat exchangers clean and debris-free. Visit NovaStretch.com and use the code CORVETTE15 to get 15% off your order. Protect your Corvette with NovaStretch.
American Hydrocarbon is your one-stop shop for custom interior, exterior, and engine bay items for your C4 through C8 Corvette. We can help you create a custom look for your Corvette with carbon fiber or 10 different color patterns and styles. Whether it's a custom-made engine cover for your new C8 mid-engine Corvette or custom-made C4 interior upgrades, American Hydrocarbon can help you transform your Corvette into a best-in-class show car. And now we're proud to announce that we can produce and distribute officially licensed GM products for the C8 Corvette. That includes the front splitter, side skirts, engine appearance panels, and engine fluid caps. Plus, we now also carry the C8 Speedline side skirts along with the engine appearance package and high wing. Our products have been featured in Vette and Corvette magazines. Give us a call, 813-476-5638. Visit our updated website at AmericanHydrocarbon.com or email us at pat@AmericanHydrocarbon.com. Let us help you make your Corvette the car you've always wanted it to be. American Hydrocarbon.
And now, back to the only current podcast on Corvettes, Corvette Today, with your host, Steve Garrett.
Hey, thanks for listening and watching Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette. Brought to you by Wheelcraft. Want to dress up your Corvette with bright chrome or black chrome wheels? Visit Wheelcraft.com and learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or offer a wheel exchange for most models, and it comes with a 5-year warranty. Visit Wheelcraft.com today or call 833-840-5334. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. With me every other week is Keith Cornett from CorvetteBlogger.com. We keep you current and up to date on what's happening in the world of Corvette. In this second section, we talk about Corvette racing and Corvette rumors. Let's start off with Corvette racing, Keith. Let's talk about the results that Corvette racing had in Bahrain, the last race of the year.
You know, this has actually been a good series for the Corvette. They did pretty well. So in the last race at the World Endurance Championship, it was also the final race for GTE Pro Class. Tommy Milner and Nick Tandy are over there with the number 64 Corvette C8R. So they're running with the car as it was made to be, as opposed to the car that's over here in the United States that's been kind of dumbed down for the GT3 spec. But it's been a really great season for them. They came in second place in Bahrain. It was the third podium finish of the season and the second runner-up result. They also had a runner-up at the 1,000 miles of Sebring earlier in the year. So they did pretty well. Think about it, this championship may have been very different had the number 64 Corvette not been knocked out of the race at the 24-hour Le Mans. They were there contesting for the lead with Ferrari, I believe, when they got knocked out by a bronze-rated driver on the Mulsanne Straight. This could have been something very different. But now the season's over, and when the season ended with Bahrain, the next day they're already out on the track prepping for the 2023 season with a driver's test. We already have Ben Keating, who's going to be joining Nicky Katzberg. Nicky's the pro-rated driver. Ben Keating, a car dealership out of Texas, I believe, is what he does. But he's been racing for years. And I believe he actually was one of the winners in the GTD amateur class for the World Endurance Championship this year. He just got to drive his first laps in the car on that Sunday after the race. And then they're also looking at a couple other drivers. I really don't know these guys, Axel Jeffries and Nicholas Perrone. So they're testing a couple of drivers there, seeing how they're going to do. And then one of those guys will probably be like an endurance-rated driver as well. What I'm thinking is that with the endurance-rated driver, we might be looking at a couple extended races again. Of course, we have the 1,000 miles of Sebring. They might use a third driver there, but also the 24 hours of Le Mans. We might see the WEC spec car there and only that car racing at Le Mans that year. It's going to be interesting to see how that all shakes out, but they're already at it and they're already looking forward to seeing what they can do.
That sounds good. Also, I was glad to see that Nick Tandy put out something that talked about his 2 years with Corvette racing. That was really cool.
Yeah, he was really wanting to be with us longer, and it was only the fact that the classes changed and the cars changed that kind of screwed everything up. What he said was he was actually kind of sad that it only lasted 2 years. He says that he was very lucky to be part of the team, and not many drivers can say that. He also says this generated lifelong friends with the team, and he met so many enthusiastic and committed people and Corvette owners and fans over the years. He said he was really surprised how quickly he was taken under their wings and stuff, because he comes from Porsche, which is obviously a competitor of ours. But he says no one held that against him during his time with Corvette racing. And of course, as you know, with the program changing now, his contract came to an end. And so he's back with Porsche, and he's going to be racing one of the LMDH racers there. We're still going to see him at the track, but he's just going to be back in the Porsche colors.
Interesting. Very interesting. Oh, I'm glad he's got a team to run with. That's really good.
Yeah, he was great to have. We didn't get to know him well, but we certainly enjoyed him. Every year he'd bring his little miniature race car out to Le Mans. I'm glad we had a chance to have him. We'll be kind of rooting for him in LMDH, I guess.
Absolutely. Also, Tommy Milner. This is really cool because I love this car. Tommy Milner offered his first impression of the C8 Z06 GT3.R. Wow, that's a great car.
Yeah, so again, with the changing of the World Endurance Championship, Tommy Milner's coming home. He's going to be the third endurance driver with the number 3 Corvette. And then also he's kind of the lead driver for the Z06 GT3R car. With his first times in the car, he actually says, you know, it doesn't feel really miles different than what he's used to driving. There's some differences here and there, but he says they're doing a lot of testing. And of course, he's tested the C7R, the C8R, and they do a lot of simulator work as well. So he's well versed in all this. The big difference is obviously the anti-lock braking systems and a couple other little tiny details like that. He's really excited because once you get down to having this GT3 Corvette spec, it can be raced anywhere in the world. And that's something that we haven't been able to do with the C8Rs previously. And especially with this time over in Europe, you've got the Nürburgring, you got the Spa 24-hour race, you got Bathurst. There's all these kinds of races now that are unlocked for this GT3 spec Z06R. It's pretty exciting stuff. Hopefully we'll start to see some on track. The first time we saw it on the track was just mostly a teaser, a car flying by.
Right.
But we've got the Rolex coming up in January. Maybe they'll do a little bit of teaser there. Maybe we'll see something practice laps after the race. They kind of stick around after the race. And of course, Sebring after that. So there's plenty of opportunities that we might see this car soon. That's going to be pretty exciting.
I can't wait, buddy. I can't wait. Now, in the rumor section, we heard that maybe Chevy dealers submitted 120 Z06 orders in the first round. That's pretty darn healthy.
Well, let me clarify that for you because we don't consider this good news, Steve. We think that there are around 500, we say 495 to 500 initial allocations in that first order cycle that were given to dealers. What most of the dealers do is they allocate those, they match them up with their customer orders, and they submit a customer sales order. What we're seeing here is 120 dealer stock orders.
Okay.
These are not tied to customers. And so what we're seeing is that by not submitting it as a customer order, it gives them control of it. And then therefore they can turn around and sell it with that huge market adjustments we've been hearing about. Our friend Riconti was able to get into the system. He said initially all this stuff was hidden, but then all of a sudden it got unlocked and he could see these dealer submission orders. He actually was able to chart them by state. He said Michigan had 8, Florida had 13, California had 13. And what was surprising about that California orders, 13 of them, he's seeing that 8 of those had the high wind constraint as part of them. These 100 dealer orders submitted, it does sound like they're not for customers in terms of not initially for customers, that they're just going to be sold at their discretion and whatever they can get. We've had some people tell us that, no, the dealer stock orders go under the bottom of the list and that they do all the customer sold orders first. But we're hearing that's not the case. And then we've also been told that some dealers are just lazy and didn't select the right tab when they submitted it, though. But I'm not really buying it. There's too many examples of too many dealers trying to make too much money off of this car over MSRP.
Yeah.
And one way to do it is to control the order process. The other thing too is because we're so backed up on Z06 orders, if you put in a customer sales order and then you can't fulfill that and then it rolls over, then you've got to offer price protection maybe and some other things. And so it ends up just being a hassle. I'm thinking that Conti's right and that 120 of these are mostly so these dealers can make these market adjustments on them.
Very interesting. It'll be interesting to see how this all pans out in the months and weeks to come. We'll keep an eye on that for sure.
Yes, we will.
Also, we found out that GM is offering test drives in China for the C8 Stingray. That's pretty cool.
It is. I know a lot of people are saying, why are you going to China? Less cars here in the United States. But it's just part of this global sports car movement. And then also there's some high-end other products from GM that are also going over there. They've got this specialized sales setup, not just here's a dealer and here's these cars. They call it this Durant Guild. William Durant was the person that helped co-found Chevrolet with Louis Chevrolet, and then he's the guy that really brought all these different manufacturers together to create General Motors. So the Durant Guild is this special organization that is doing this. What they did was they brought in some people, they brought in some journalists from China, and then they just did some test drives. They had the C8s out on a track there, but they also had the new Hummer EV that they tested, and I believe the Silverado EVs as well that they tested. They had like an off-road track for the Hummer, and then they could drive it on the track and test the acceleration. Again, it's just one of these things of GM's business strategy of really just getting that car into as many markets as possible. We're probably not looking at huge quantities. You get 50, 100 over there, and it could be the start of something.
Absolutely right. And also, this was really cool. Mark Royce, the president of Chevrolet, shared some electrifying news with investors. Why don't you give us all the details on that, buddy?
I wrote that headline. It was obviously because I was highlighting the fact that the E-Ray is most likely the next C8 up. Let me back up here. So Mark Royce was talking at GM's Investor Day in New York City. They had this live audience of GM investors and then people that obviously are watching the stock and see what they're doing. So they're showing new product to them. And then journalists could subscribe and watch this through a live stream. So as they're talking about these cars, they would show the cars to the live people, but then the journalists watching the live stream never got to see those. They were redacted.
Oh.
According to what was said, Royce reportedly called the next version of the C8 is something that, quote, you won't be able to imagine from a performance standpoint. With his earlier comments on CNBC this year, we believe he is talking about the E-Ray, which is the wide-body car with the LT2 engine and then their electric Ultium drive motors on the front that creates all-wheel drive performance. Technically, it would be performance that we've never seen before and never been able to imagine before because it's an all-wheel drive Corvette. And then the other car he talked about, again, we're only talking about cars built on C8 architecture. So a lot of people were thinking, oh, this must be that Corvette SUV they've been talking about or a Corvette branded sedan. But no, this is C8 architecture. And so we think that he's saying that when he calls it incredible performance and it'll set the standard for the world, he's really talking about the ZR1, which takes the Z06 5.5 liter powertrain and then puts the twin turbochargers on it for somewhere around 800, 900 horsepower. Really exciting stuff. This should be things that Corvette people are excited about. It just shows them continuing that path. After ZR1, we are expecting a Zora, which is that twin turbo 5.5 liter V8 with these Ultium drive motors on the front for an all-wheel drive Zora model. really good stuff coming there. We're not sure when this is all going to drop, but he said in 2024, both models. So we could see one go on sale in 2024, the E-Ray, and then a preview or the reveal of the ZR1, which may come out as soon as 2025.
Wow. Can't wait, buddy. I can't wait. Keith, let's take our final break. When we come back, it's the lighter side of Corvette here on Corvette Today.
Are you ready for a better insurance policy without the Corvette tax? With Agreed Value Protection, the value of your collector vehicle will never change. Plus, you'll save money. Get a quick quote at ncminsurance.com.
Hey, honey, are you awake?
I am now.
I can't sleep. Since turning 50, I keep dreaming of a red door and a blue door, somehow knowing there are only choices for retirement.
Okay.
Through the red door, we outlive our money. We have to rely on our kids. We're stuck on a fixed income. It's terrifying.
Yeah, that would suck.
But through the blue door, our money outlives us. We retire on our terms. Our kids stay our kids, not our caretakers. We make work optional.
Yes, that's much better. That's what I want too. But what do we do?
We call True Wealth & Company at 913-653-8783. They specialize in helping successful people make work optional. They're our fiduciary Blue Door personal wealth managers.
Hey, where are you going? It's 3 a.m.
I can't sleep. I'm going to check out True Wealth & Company online at retirewithtrue.com. That Blue Door is going to be our retirement.
913-653-8783. Visit us online at retirewithtrue.com. Investment advice offered through True Wealth & Company, LLC, a registered investment advisor in the state of Kansas.
VetFinders.com is the Internet's original Corvette classified ads website, with classified ads starting at just $25. And every ad runs until your Corvette is sold. If you're in the market for a Corvette, VetFinders.com has over 500 Corvettes for sale from all around the USA and Canada and covering all 8 generations. Visit VetFinders.com, the Internet's destination for buying and selling Corvettes. That's VETTE Finders.com.
The holiday season is here, and Mid-America Motorworks is sure to have that perfect something for that hard-to-buy-for Corvette enthusiast on your shopping list. Mid-America Motorworks can help with lots of T-shirts, Corvette car covers, stocking stuffers, and more. They have all of what you need for years and generations of Corvette. Whether it's the latest shirt, jacket, hat, or lifestyle accessory, you can get it at Mid-America Motorworks. Visit mamotorworks.com and shop Corvettes by generation or specific year. You can even shop by price for the perfect gift or stocking stuffer. Call Monday through Saturday toll-free at 866-350-4540 and talk to a Corvette expert. Mid-America Motorworks. Pursue your passion here.
You're listening and watching Corvette Today with Steve Garrett.
Hey, thanks once again for listening and watching Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette. Brought to you by Wheelcraft. Want to dress up your Corvette with bright chrome or black chrome wheels? Visit wheelcraft.com and learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or offer a wheel exchange for most models, and it comes with a 5-year warranty. Visit wheelcraft.com or call them 833-840-5334. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. With me every other week is Keith Cornett from CorvetteBlogger.com. If you want a deeper dive into any of these stories we talk about on this show, you can always go to CorvetteBlogger.com. In this third and final segment, we talk about the lighter side of Corvette. Keith, this is really cool. One of the prototype C8Rs, the EX01, was offered on Bring a Trailer. Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. And the funny thing is, this is the second time this car has been sold this year. It actually sold for $104,000 at Barrett-Jackson in Las Vegas. It was part of this GM Heritage Collection offered by GM. So they do this sometimes. They bring in these older show cars or cars they're not really using anymore and then auction them off. Sometimes give them to charity and such like that, the proceeds. The person that bought this, as they were looking at the car, they noticed that there was the outline of dual stripes and very similar looking to the C8R with the interior. But what really gave it away was the 01EX badge that's on that waterfall. And when they put the EX, that means experimental. So you wonder about this car. He was trying to find out about it, and when he requested a duplicate window sticker, when he did that, his contacts found out that, whoa, I don't know if we were supposed to sell this car. They actually had to go see the car. The funny thing is they supposedly had to remove some software off it.
Ooh.
And then make it compliant with putting like the warning labels and some stickers back on there. That's according to the story told by GM Authority. It's really a prototype and it's a unicorn. It was actually used as one of the show cars when the car was revealed in 2021 at Belle Isle. It's just a promotional vehicle with a history. It was used here. It's got that 01EX. Steve, this car sold for $183,000 on Bring a Trailer.
Wow, that's incredible, buddy. Unbelievable.
It's just going to be one of these cars that will be around, and it'll always be the very first one. Even though the guy's got number one out there, he just got one up by a prototype. The fact that it sold for 104 at Barrett-Jackson, that's a great number for an EX car. But then 183 on Bring a Trailer. These C8R editions are really keeping their value and doing well at these auctions. No surprise that we won't see more of them sold at auction.
Amazing, buddy. Simply amazing. Also, our friend Speed Phenom got his car and he's driving back to California. He ran a half mile. He put the car on the scales and he did a decibel test. That was pretty cool watching his journey back to California.
Yeah, he's kind of been our go-to guy for the Z06 content. We're hoping more come out. We're going to talk about the Stradman next. So he picked up his car. He did a R8C delivery at the museum, well documented there, and then started driving home, put some miles on it, got over the 500 that he needed to. Remember, he went to the dyno with that car,
right?
And then he put it on the half mile. It ran 153 miles an hour in the half mile, but it was cold there. He said he couldn't get traction. He was constantly trying to warm up his tires for that. But again, that's what happens when you deliver a car in late fall or early winter. The next thing he did was on his way home, he stopped by a truck stop and actually put his car on their certified scales. One of the things he wanted to find out was what the actual weight of the car was. So his first measurement, he said with about 7 or 8 gallons of fuel in there, about 30% fuel load, came in right at 3,600 pounds. For all the things that the Z06 has, I know some people talked about weight, but it's got all these nice creature comforts and it's comfortable and all that to drive as well. People say, well, it's kind of worth it. But 3,600 pounds is definitely a pretty decent number these days. And then the second weigh-in he did with a full fuel load, he had all of his stuff out. So it was just fuel in the car. And that came to 3,680. Again, just another cool test he did. He gets home. One of the things that he's doing is I think he's got some track dates set up. So he brought a decibel meter. He wanted to see what kind of noise it puts out. Some tracks have limits on how much sound a car can make. I know the NCM Motorsports Park, I believe, has 103 decibel limit. We know Laguna Seca's got a decibel limit. What he did was just standing roughly 10 feet from the car, that thing was revved all the way up and it came in at 118 decibels. And then when measured from about within a foot of the car, he was looking at 123 decibels. We know that the NCM Motorsports Park, their 103 decibel limit is measured 50 feet from the edge of the track with the car on the track. And of course, you have a barrier wall there too, which kind of helps deflect the sound. So we actually think that for the most part, the car is loud when you're standing 10 feet behind it and revving it all the way up the red line. Of course, it's going to be loud, but we think on the track, it's not quite as loud. In fact, I drew the comparison that when the Corvette team was over at the Nürburgring with the C7 ZR1, remember they had those funky, weird deflectors coming out of the tailpipes directing the sound away from the interior of the track where the sound meters are set up. I believe that's how it was. When they were testing the Z06s over there, they didn't have any kind of that at all. Probably it's a loud exhaust, but probably not the loudest one they've made. You're putting those 4 pipes together in the middle, so they're really kind of pushing it out there. But again, the Z06 has got that little extra design where some of that sound is bounced back towards the front of the car in the cockpit. So yeah, it's loud. You'll have to maybe watch yourself on a track that does have some lower decibel limits, if you get into like the 90s on some tracks. But I think for the most part, we're going to be okay.
Yeah, I think so too, buddy. Also, Stradman got his yellow Z06 with the Z07 track package. He's driving home to Salt Lake City, Utah. He got a wild and crazy offer for the car in cash.
Yeah, again, another YouTuber. Stradman has 4 million subscribers. He put up a video, and I think within a few hours, over 300,000 people had viewed it. Some people really don't like his style. I find him kind of fun to watch, He's very caffeinated. He's very animated. He talks really fast. He does spin that camera around, so some people complain about they get dizzy watching it a little bit, but I think he's a fun dude. I enjoy watching him. So he picked up an Accelerate yellow Z06 with a Z07 package from Matt Bieber at Whitmoyer Chevrolet in Mount Joy, Pennsylvania. Again, another cold day, but he shows him kind of going through the paperwork. He had to sign off on that form that says, I know that if I sell this car within 6 months, that I won't be able to get any other early access to cars, perhaps like he did here. That's one of the rules. And of course, if he does sell the car, the person that buys it doesn't get the warranty on the car. If he keeps it 6 months, he gets 500,000 My Chevy Reward points, which converts to like $5,000 to spend in the store there or on service or anything like that.
Right.
We saw him was signing that form. He paid $173,000 for the car. I think that's what it came in at. Obviously, one of the highest prices we've ever seen for a new Chevrolet. It's got everything, the carbon fiber wheels, the interior's all carbon fiber. You would love it, Steve. You would love it.
Absolutely.
It shows him making his way home, and then on his second day, he stops to see his friends at the Triple F collection in Columbus, Ohio. Wow, what a place that is. The house is like a European estate, and then it's got this custom garage in the back, and you walk in there, there's a Bugatti Chiron SS sitting on this turntable, just kind of spinning around, and all these McLarens on one side, Ferraris on the other, and I caught an old Mercedes Gullwing there, and then there was a 63 split window in silver. Basically, they gave him the keys, let him drive the Bugatti a little bit. Again, it was very cold, and this is a $4 million or $5 million car because it had the carbon fiber body on it. These Bugattis are just over the top. One of the really cool things that he did was this Triple F collection. They've got their own drag strip. So just as he was going to the track, he reached the 500-mile break-in and tried to do some pulls down the line. Again, they're looking at temps at like 25 degrees, so no traction whatsoever. He was racing a couple different cars, a Lamborghini and I believe a Nissan GT-R, and just could not get any traction. And what was really interesting was that he says he got an email from a, quote, Chevy collector who offered him $110K over the price of what he paid. That's $283,000 as an offer for his 500-mile Z06. He says, now, if I was to sell the car, obviously I have to stop driving it right now. He's like, I got so many plans for it. So we found out at the end of the video, he made it to Chicago. That's when he said, yeah, I can't sell it now. I just got too many plans. He's talking about straight piping it. He wants to do some more content, obviously, but just he wants to enjoy it because he is enjoying the car. We're expecting more from him. And again, I know some people don't like him. Some people do like him. He's one of the only guys that has one. So obviously we've got to kind of pay attention and see what he's doing.
Absolutely right. James, don't sell the Z07. Keep it. I'm telling you, just keep it.
Yeah.
Also, Keith, we had a couple reviews. Matt Farah did a test drive with 3 laps on the Z06. That was a great review.
Yeah, this is for the Road and Track Performance Car of the Year award. We know they were testing that. He talked a little bit about that earlier. I talked about it on his podcast for about 15 minutes. Talks about how fast it is, could feel the difference in the car. And then, of course, the grip of the car on the track and how it moves around. He was calling it even better than the Ferrari 458 Speciale at 1/3 the cost. We can't forget what happened when Stingray entered this contest before. These affordable sports cars that compete with these exotics at a quarter or half the price, that's a big deal. It's award season, and so not only are we looking at the Motortrend Car of the Year, but perhaps the Road and Track Performance Car of the Year. Matt Farah is one of the guys that I really wanted to see drive the car. In the second review that you set up, Carlos Lago from Car and Driver, they put out their review in written form earlier. So we have all the specs there. They talked about the launching. I think it did the quarter mile in 131 miles an hour, 10.5 was it? I think. As he's driving around, he's actually driving the black hardtop convertible, not the one with the Z07 performance and the suspension and brakes and all that, but the hardtop convertible. And he's calling it the best Corvette ever. He's driving around the track, does one of his patented reviews as well. And again, just stunning scenery, great looking car. And the fact that they're calling the convertible best Corvette ever, I think that's saying something.
That bodes well, Keith. That does. That really does. Buddy, before we close out today's show, we've got to talk about the 70th anniversary Stingray. I got mine, and we talked about an overview of it on our last news and headlines show. We didn't do it. I got mail. I got lots of mail.
Well, I did see the dealership. You picked it up from your Hendrick dealership in Kansas City. I know it's been a little cold, and I know that you've got some packages that you were putting on there. So let's hear what you did do so far.
I picked it up, and it was 50 degrees. It was pouring rain. It was dark because I left at 7 o'clock, and we're in that time of year where it gets dark at 5 o'clock. But I did it in the pouring rain because it was 50 degrees. And I told my wife I wanted to do it that night because the next day was going to be 35 degrees. I didn't want to drive it home in freezing weather. I was so nervous and so meticulous about driving it home. And then the windows started fogging up, and I'm looking at this Great Wall of buttons thinking...
Because you're coming from your C7, obviously that Great Wall is new for you.
Yes, I was looking at the thing. What the hell do I press to get the fog off the windows? Anyway, I had about 18 boxes of carbon fiber, and we had some good weather the week of Thanksgiving, so I put everything on, got a lot of carbon fiber in the interior, and the day before Thanksgiving, I added the new Z07 style wing from Sagala Designs in San Diego in carbon fiber. It looks fantastic. I haven't gotten it out yet, but we're going to get it out soon, and I'll tell you all about it. It's car number $1,245, and I got the white pearl metallic tri-coat in a coupe because that color is special and specific to that car, and it's the first time Corvette has ever used a tri-coat paint on a Corvette. So that's why I wanted it, and I love the hardtop convertible too, but I want to see that engine through the engine bay. I also got the 5VM Aero kit from American Hydrocarbon, and they put it in carbon fiber and trimmed it in red. My wife really likes it. So far, the car is just fantastic. And it's a completely different drive. You got that engine in the front with the C7 and beyond, and it's pulling you forward. This is pushing you forward with the engine in the back. So it's really taken a little bit of getting used to, that's for sure.
Well, I think the work you've done on the car so far, you sent me some pictures. We'll make sure to post one of these pictures when we post the podcast on our site. I do really like the rocker panels, how they're trimmed in red. It kind of reminds me of the Z06 pace car at the Indy 500, and maybe that was kind of the look you're going for, but it does add some nice little color and kind of brings it out. Of course, you've got the edge red calipers. You do have the edge red calipers, right?
No, they're the bright red calipers.
Oh, that's right, because of the plant closure. So
yes.
Yeah, that all kind of brings it all together with the red and the red. And yeah, I'm anxious to see it. Hopefully you'll be able to bring it to a couple shows this year.
It's going to be at the birthday bash at the National Corvette Museum in late April, so I'm looking forward to that and getting it out on the road and getting out of winter so I can really drive.
Well, fantastic, Steve. I know you're going to have fun with that car, and I know you've been thinking about this for a while. I'm glad to see you pull the trigger on it. Gee, I think I'm the only one now. All my friends got C8s.
Buddy, pressure's on. Pressure's on.
Well, I'm waiting for an electrifying car, if you know what I mean.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, buddy, thanks for being back on Corvette Today. Happy holidays, my friend. We will talk to you in 2 weeks.
All right. Sounds great, Steve. Everybody out there, enjoy yourselves. Don't spend too much this Cyber Monday. And if we see you, keep waving.
Thanks for listening to Corvette Today. And please be sure to tell your family, friends, and other Corvette enthusiasts about the Corvette Today podcast. And thanks to our sponsors, Wheelcraft. Want to dress up your Corvette with bright chrome or black chrome wheels? Visit wheelcraft.com to learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or offer a wheel exchange for most models, and it comes with a 5-year warranty. Visit wheelcraft.com today or call 833-840-5334. American Hydrocarbon at AmericanHydrocarbon.com. True Wealth & Company at RetireWithTrue.com. Also, Aerolari Wheels. Get $100 off your purchase with the new promo code CT111 at Aerolari.com. Mid-America Motorworks at MAMotorworks.com. And Hendrick Chevrolet in Kansas City at ChevyUSA.com.
You've been listening to Corvette Today with Steve Garrett. If you'd like to contact Steve with any thoughts on the podcast or ideas for guests on Corvette Today, you can email him at stevegarrettdj@gmail.com. That's stevegarrettdj@gmail.com. Garrett has 2 R's and 2 T's. Or connect with Steve on social media on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram using @SteveGarrettDJ. Thanks again for listening to Corvette Today.